You have probably heard the sound before and never knew what it was. A steady rhythmic thump coming from somewhere near a creek. Not mechanical exactly, more like a heartbeat, repeating every second or so, day and night without stopping. No engine noise, no electrical hum, just that pulse echoing through the valley like something alive. That sound is water being pushed uphill. Without electricity, without fuel, without a motor, without a single watt of external power. The device making that sound has two moving parts. It costs less than $80 to build from hardware store plumbing fittings. It can lift water over 100 feet vertically. It runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Some units have been documented running continuously for decades without any maintenance beyond an occasional valve replacement that costs a few dollars. It is called a hydraulic ram pump, and the man who invented it is the same man who invented the hot air balloon. Before we get to that man, we need to start with a clockmaker. The year is 1772. John Whitehurst, a clockmaker and engineer from Cheshire, England, is trying to solve a simple problem. He needs to move water from a low point to a higher point without using a steam engine. Steam engines exist, but they are enormous, expensive, and require constant fuel and supervision. They need coal. They need an operator. They need a building to house them. For a country estate that just needs water moved from a stream to a hilltop garden, a steam engine is like using a cannon to light a candle. Whitehurst needs something simpler, something that uses the water itself as the power source. He builds what he calls a pulsation engine. The concept is crude but brilliant. Water flows downhill through a pipe. At the bottom, Whitehurst manually opens and closes a tap in a specific rhythm. Each time he closes the tap suddenly, the water in the pipe slams to a halt. That sudden stop creates a pressure spike, a shock wave inside the pipe. The spike is strong enough to force a small amount of water through a second valve and up into a higher pipe. It works. He installs the first one at Oulton, Cheshire, lifting water nearly 5 meters to serve a brewery and other buildings on the estate. The water falls 16 feet through a 1.5-inch pipe, 600 feet long. But the system has a fatal limitation. Someone has to stand there and operate the tap by hand. Every cycle, every minute, all day, every day. The pump works. The labor does not. You have replaced a steam engine with a human being standing in a creek turning a valve forever. Whitehurst does not solve this problem. 13 years pass without a solution. Then, in 1796, in the town of Voiron in southeastern France, a man named Joseph Michel Montgolfier is running a paper mill. Montgolfier is not a typical mill owner. 13 years earlier, he and his brother Etienne had done something that changed the world forever. They had taken paper and silk, shaped it into a balloon, filled it with hot air, and watched it rise. In June 1783, they launched an unmanned balloon before a crowd. In November of that same year, they sent 2 men into the sky over Paris, the first manned flight in human history. The Montgolfier brothers had given humanity the sky. But Joseph was not interested in fame. After the balloon spectacle became the talk of Europe, Joseph quietly stepped away from public life. He was a mechanic at heart, a tinkerer, a man who built things with his hands in a workshop that smelled like iron and wet paper. His paper mill at Voiron needed water moved from a stream to a higher reservoir. He knew about Whitehurst's pulsation engine. He understood why it worked, and he understood exactly why it failed. So he fixed it. Montgolfier replaced the manual tap with a self-acting valve, a weighted flap that opened and closed automatically based on the speed and pressure of the water itself. When the water moved slowly, the valve hung open under its own weight. When the water accelerated past a certain speed, the drag of the flow lifted the valve and slammed it shut. The pressure spike did its work, pushing water uphill. Then the pressure dropped. The valve fell open again, and the cycle restarted. No operator needed, no human hand required. The water did the work of operating its own pump. He called it the hydraulic ram, and it was, by any reasonable definition, a perpetual motion machine for water. Not in the thermodynamic sense. It obeyed every law of physics. But in the practical sense, it ran forever, as long as water flowed. No input other than gravity. The principle is deceptively simple. You have almost certainly experienced the physics yourself without knowing it. Think about what happens when you turn off a faucet quickly in your house. You hear a loud bang in the pipes. That bang is called water hammer. When water is flowing through a pipe and you stop it suddenly, all the momentum of that moving water has to go somewhere. It converts into a pressure wave, a shock wave that travels at 1,400 meters per second. In your house, that shock wave vibrates the pipes and makes noise. It is a nuisance. In a hydraulic ram, that same shock wave does useful work. Here is how the cycle works. Follow this carefully. Water flows from a source, a stream, a spring, a pond with overflow. It flows downhill through a pipe called the drive pipe. The pipe leads to the ram pump sitting at a lower elevation. At the pump, there is a valve called the waste valve. It starts open. Water rushes through it freely, falling under the force of gravity, gaining speed with every meter it drops. As it accelerates, the flow itself creates drag on the valve. Think of holding your hand out of a car window. At low speed, you feel a gentle push. As the car goes faster, the force increases. When the water reaches a critical speed, that drag force overcomes the weight of the valve and snaps it shut, instantly, like a door slamming in the wind. Now all that moving water in the drive pipe hits a dead stop. Hundreds of pounds of water traveling at speed, suddenly going nowhere. The momentum converts into a massive pressure spike. Water hammer. That pressure is far higher than the static pressure of the water source above. Far higher than gravity alone could produce. It is a spike, a momentary surge of enormous force. It is a spike, high enough to force open a second valve, the delivery valve. A small volume of water is pushed through and up into a delivery pipe that leads to a tank at a much higher elevation. The water pushed uphill enters a sealed air chamber. The air compresses like a spring, absorbing the shock of each pulse and smoothing the delivery into a steadier flow rather than sharp bursts. Without it, the delivery would be violent and uneven. When the pressure equalizes, the delivery valve closes. The waste valve falls open again. Water starts flowing once more. Speed builds. Drag increases. The waste valve slams shut again. And the cycle repeats, 40 to 90 times per minute. Automatically. Indefinitely. That is it. That is the entire machine. 2 valves, an air chamber, and 2 pipes. No seals to lubricate, no bearings to wear, no gaskets to degrade, no electricity, no fuel, no motor, just gravity, momentum, and the physics of water hammer. Montgolfier's friend Matthew Boulton, the famous steam engine manufacturer, took out a British patent on Montgolfier's behalf in 1797. By 1820, a British engineer named Josiah Easton began manufacturing ram pumps commercially from a works in London. The technology spread fast. Throughout the 19th century, hydraulic rams became the standard water supply solution for farms, country estates, and rural communities across Britain and Europe. Easton's firm grew into one of the most important engineering manufacturers in England. They specialized in water supply and sewerage systems worldwide. Their cast-iron ram pumps were shipped to installations across the British Empire. In the hamlet of East Dundry, 3 working rams served dairy farms for decades. The rhythmic thumping of the pumps resonated through the valley day and night. The residents grew so accustomed to the sound that it became part of the landscape itself. The pumps ran continuously until 1958, when Maine's water finally arrived. The technology crossed the Atlantic. The first American patent was issued in 1809. By the 1840s, domestic companies were manufacturing and selling rams across the United States. In 1852, an entire town in New York was supplied by a single device with 2 moving parts. In Idaho, a builder named Priestley constructed a hydraulic ram in 1890 that lifted water 110 feet vertically. It still survives today and is listed on the United States National Register of Historic Places. Still standing, still recognized. In 1884, the Rife Hydraulic Engine Manufacturing Company was incorporated in Waynesboro, Virginia. Their pumps could lift water 200 feet vertically and deliver up to 50,000 gallons per day, including a model sold to Pierre Samuel Dupont. That estate would later become Longwood Gardens, one of the most famous botanical gardens in the world. The ram pump that first brought water to those gardens was a Rife. An original Rife Model 40 is still working today after over a century of service. But here is where the story turns. As electricity spread across rural America, electric pumps became cheap and convenient. You plug it in. You flip a switch. Water moves. No need to understand water hammer. Just wire it to the grid and pay the bill every month. The hydraulic ram did not fail. It was simply replaced by something more convenient and more profitable for the companies selling it. Hardware stores stopped carrying ram pumps. The electric pump industry grew into a multi-billion-dollar market. A pump that runs forever on gravity generates zero recurring revenue. It is incompatible with every business model built on selling power and replacement parts. The knowledge did not disappear entirely, but it faded from the mainstream. An entire generation forgot, but the physics never left. In the Philippines, AIDFI has been reviving hydraulic ram technology for rural villages since 1991. Entire villages now have reliable, clean water supplies powered by nothing but the streams flowing past their homes. Awarded internationally. In remote areas of Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia, ram pumps provide water for irrigation, livestock, and drinking in places where running an electric line would cost more than the community earns in a year. The technology that powered Victorian estates now powers communities. And in the United States, a quiet revival is underway among homesteaders and off-grid builders. The entire pump can be built from standard PVC and galvanized steel plumbing fittings available at any hardware store. Total cost, $50 to $100. The build takes an afternoon. The site requirements are straightforward but non-negotiable. You need a vertical drop of at least half a meter. More fall means more energy. For every additional quarter meter, delivery flow increases by 13%. Your source needs at least 7 times more water than you want delivered. This sounds wasteful. It is not. The water going through the waste valve is not consumed. It flows back to the stream. The pump takes energy from the water's momentum, not from the water itself. The drive pipe should be rigid. Galvanized steel is ideal because it does not flex under the pressure spikes. PVC works but absorbs some of the shock wave through expansion, reducing efficiency. The pipe length should be roughly 4 to 5 times the total fall. Too long and the pump cycles too slowly. Too short and there is not enough momentum. One homesteader doubled his output by shortening his drive pipe from 160 feet to 23 feet, all while lifting water 100 feet vertically to his property. No solar panels, no batteries, just pipe and valves. The waste valve is the only component that takes real abuse. But replacement is simple, cheap, and infrequent. The cost of a new rubber flap is less than $5. The repair takes 10 minutes. Physics is already nearly optimized. Montgolfier got it right in 1796. Now compare that to a standard electric well pump. It costs hundreds to thousands of dollars. It requires constant electricity. It has bearings, seals, motors, and control boxes. Average lifespan, 8 to 15 years. When it fails, you call a technician. You pay for parts. You pay for labor. A hydraulic ram pump costs $80 in parts. It has 2 moving parts. It needs no electricity. It runs for decades. The man who gave humanity flight also gave us a pump that runs on nothing but falling water. Proven reliable for over 228 years. Unchanged because it does not need improvement. The creek is still flowing. The gravity is still pulling. The only thing between you and water at the top of your hill is a trip to the hardware store and an afternoon with a wrench.